Peace. Happy Saturday. How y'all doing? Peace. Peace, everybody. I'm going to just let a few more people come in. This is... I always say this is going to be short, but I'm not going to say that because... I don't control the weather. I just, do the say it. You know what I mean? I tell the temperature. So I'm going to do my best to stop trying to control how these lives go. I am a control freak. Might not seem that way, but I'm very organized in a way. Like my whole entire being is like a computer with 400 tabs open, and I know every tab. That's really me. And it's really funny because this week when I did the work, the spiritual work I did and I found out that Obatala was with me. That made so much sense, and because children of Obatala are very orderly. And I don't know why that didn't dawn on me earlier. But I wanted to talk about healing and how messy healing is. Let me go into the waters of healing, the murkiness. We're going to talk about the depths, right? I do my best to be honest about my healing journey and everything that's going on with me, because I'm a very transparent person, because I think that a lot of the times when we talk about healing, it seems, what do you call that? We show the internet healing, the pretty flowers and the flower baths and even I sell crystal jewelry and adornments, and we do the beautiful part, right? But we don't talk about the murky depths, the waters of healing, and how, especially at the beginning, it's dark. There is no light. You're just in a tunnel. You're just wading through some murky shit, right? You're just hoping, praying, wishing you could keep your head above whatever is coming at you as you're moving towards your higher self. It's a lot of debris in our water. It's a lot of old shit, a lot of junk and gunk that we get to clear. And a lot of times we want to skip to the fun, the fancy, the beauty, all of that. We don't want to do the hard work. We don't want to do the stuff that doesn't seem interesting because it doesn't feel good. And I want to implore you to stick with it. You saw the title of the video. Do not come on here telling me to do anything other than that. If this is not what you want to see, then leave. Y'all need to know that I'm a grown ass woman, and we're not gonna play these games. So you can leave, Cocky Wayne. Goodbye. I'm not doing that with y'all today. So as far as healing, you're going to have to wade through some stuff. When I first started my healing journey, I was very unclear about what my outcome should look like. I was like, I just want to feel good. Let me tell you something about wanting to feel good. I'm glad you work out, sir, but this is not what this video is about. Wanting to feel good will attract seemingly feel good situations to you that will have you, again, picking up that muck. I had no understanding of the power of my words, the power of the direction of trying to run from feeling unwell. Thank you for the kindness. And you have to sit in that unwell feeling. The more you try to run from it, the more circumstances are going to come up that are going to pull you deeper into that, to show you how you are hiding from yourself, how you are avoiding yourself. When I began this journey, I was really terrified of seeing who I could be. I knew who I could be. I knew at the murky depths that I could be very angry, nasty, belligerent, backstabbing. I had major character flaws. Major character flaws. And I would say, when somebody did something horrible to me, I would say, I'm such a good person. I was a good person when it was, people could see it. I wasn't a good person. You know what I'm saying? I was a good person for show. I wasn't a good person in here. The type of stuff that I thought, the type of things that I did in quiet, when I thought nobody could see me, I wasn't a good person. And what I had to learn was, who am I when no one sees me? Who am I when no one knows what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, who I'm being? My childhood had taught me that I could show up to the world as one thing, but be a totally other thing, and could be okay. These types of behaviors are what we get to shed in our healing journey. And a lot of us do not want to deal with who we are. We don't want to deal with the fact that we are basically not decent. We're not a good human. We want to be seen as a good human, so we perform niceties and things in public to make people think, to attract people to us, to make them think that we are good and loving and kind, so that we can benefit from our public persona. And then we get in relationships with people, friendships and intimate relationships and all other types of relationships, and people see who we actually are, and they call us out on our shit. And because we haven't done the reflective work, and because we haven't done the healing work, and because we haven't done the honesty and authenticity reflections with ourselves, we haven't had these real honest conversations with ourselves, and we also haven't surrounded ourselves with people who will be honest, because we only want people around us who reflect the same dismal, lying, disgusting things that we reflect, so that we can feel comfortable with ourselves and comfortable with our relationships, because we don't want to grow. We're just putting on the facade of growing. We don't learn. We don't learn. And I'm going to tell you, I had a relation. I was really working on myself. Like I was being intentional at one point. At this point in my healing journey, I was really being intentional. I was really paying attention to how I showed up. I was really counting how I showed up in other people's lives and in my life. And I was really like being honest and authentic. And this is the point. This was the turning point in my healing process that I got, that This shit ain't for nobody but you. I was being so honest and so authentic and so clear. And I attracted someone who reflected my previous unhealed, scarred, disgusting, harmful self. And I stayed in my lane. I stayed in my authentic self. I stayed in my true self. I stayed in myself that will honor myself. And that person did what did to me. That person did what I would have done to someone who showed up in my life for me. And they taught me a valuable lesson. That I get to stay the course no matter who shows up in my life. No matter how someone shows up to me, I don't get to create a revenge or a plot or a way to get them back for showing up nasty and disgusting. I don't get to be angry and disperse information about that person because they didn't show up in integrity like I wanted them to show up. A lot of us do not like to get our own medicine. Sometimes you're going to get your own medicine. Sometimes it's going to be bitter as fuck because you were a bitter pill to swallow for other people. And we don't like to think about that. It's not about karma specifically. It's about the fact that you said that you're choosing to grow and to be authentic and to heal these parts of yourself that no longer serve you. So you know what your higher self, your ancestors, God, whoever you believe in or work with on your healing, they're going to say, okay, well, let's test that theory out. Let's see how much you are committed to this journey. And sometimes you're going to get a doozy. And this person was a doozy. The way they came through my life and ripped everything they could apart because they could, because I was vulnerable, because I was open, because I was willing. And the way I had to sit there and be humbled. And say, you know what? That's okay. That was a great lesson. That was a beautiful lesson. I'm never going to talk bad about this person. I'm never going to tell anybody what happened. I'm going to own that this was my lesson. This was for me. Now, what they felt and what they did, it's not my problem. It's not my business. What I know is how I showed up and how this person showed up as a reflection of my former self to teach me that I get to stand in my authenticity. I get to stand in who I say I am at all times. I don't get to waver no matter what shows up. We have a lot of sayings. I'm going to meet energy with energy. How? Why? Why would you lower yourself to a space that you no longer want to be in just to prove a point? We have to stop trying to flex every time somebody shows up in our space and doesn't do something that we don't think is okay. And it's not about being a sucker or whatever. It's really about getting that you're growing beyond certain ideals, certain responses. If you want something different, you have to do something different. If every time somebody wrongs you, you fight them or you argue with them or you get somebody else to fight and argue with them, and you are still doing that, there's no growth. It's going to be small increments. It's going to take time. These are the murky waters. When we get to see a reflection of who we really are, when we get to see how we showed up to other people, when we weren't well, when we were out here harming people with all of our junk, all of our trauma, and we were maintaining we were good people. Yes, time is the key. It takes time to develop this. Yes. And you have to be dedicated to yourself and know that no one is trying to actually hurt you. Most people are in reaction to life. Most people are not even thinking or even considering how they move through the world. They are just constantly on react mode. Something happens, they react. Something happens, they react. Something happens, they react. That is trauma. That is unhealed trauma. Once you step out of that mode into a space where you can meditate and you can listen and you can hear and you can see what's going on and not just react to everything that's happening, but you're actually taking it in, weighing it, thinking about it, processing it. That's when you're moving towards your active healing journey. You have two types of healing journeys. There's active and there's passive. Active is when you are paying attention and you are creating your healing step by step because you are noting the things that are happening in your life. Passive is when you are reacting to everything around you. You're healing still even when you're reacting in your trauma. But it's a passive healing because you're not in control. So what actually happens in a passive healing is that you keep recreating the same trauma cycles or healing cycles over and over again. How do you get from a passive healing cycle to an active healing cycle? You simply stop. Stop doing everything you used to doing. Just stop it. Step back. Breathe. Relax. Remove the lens of the old. Stop relying on what you think you know. A lot of what you think you know is trauma. A lot of what you think you know is behavioral suicide. It really is. A lot of us have not been taught to hear our feelings. A lot of us have not been taught to feel. We've been taught to just get over it. That is not awareness. And without that awareness, we are not cultivating a true healing cycle that will get us to the next space that will allow us to shed our old selves and move into our higher selves. Bit by bit, step by step, we go. It is not a jump. You will not go from one day fighting and arguing with people to being at peace. It will be a back and forth. You, like they say, 10 steps forward, 30 steps back. Or 5 steps forward, 3 steps back. Whatever. It will always be a rocking back and forth until you settle into your healing journey. And that is okay. A lot of us have a hard time with the fact that we make mistakes because we're trained not to make mistakes. We're taught that mistakes are wrong. Mistakes are experiences. Mistakes are lessons. They are not wrong. There is nothing wrong that you're doing. Everything you're doing is just a part of your process. There is nothing wrong with it. There's not even nothing wrong with the way that people react to you when you act in a certain kind of a way. We are all growing and learning to balance out everything that we've taken in. Some of us are beginning our healing journeys younger and younger. And I'm loving seeing all the young people who are on their journeys at 20, 22, 24. That's so beautiful. And that's a testament to what they've been seeing from the older generations that are starting to realize that a lot of what we are covered in is not useful. And yes, you can run from your process. You're correct, Culture Vista. I ran from my process for a long time and I thought I was actually doing it. But what I was doing was, the beautiful stuff. Oh, I'm going to create a new moon manifestation list. You can write all the manifestation lists you want. But if you're not aligned here and here, you're still creating, You're just creating from your trauma. You're creating from your pain because you're wishing away what is not what is present instead of owning what is present. Now when I write a manifestation list, I talk about what I want to actively heal, not what I some fantasy that I don't even have a right to because I haven't done the work of healing the things behind that fantasy. How if I have a lot conversation, how am I writing I'm going to be a millionaire on something? Take the small step. How do I be okay with not having everything that I want all the time? How do I create more of what I want? How do I create something beautiful that I experience that I want for myself that is beautiful? By saving. We're taking large leaps instead of small steps. Every part of our healing journey is a small step. I cover my true mission with the mission that made me feel good physically. Exactly. And a lot of us do that. We love the pretty things. It feels good to have pretty flowery things around us. It does, and it makes us feel better momentarily, but it doesn't last. When we haven't done that internal work, when we haven't done that, hi Caprice, when we haven't done that internal work that's going to help us heal those traumas and those injuries that we've been carrying for most of our lives, it doesn't matter what we're looking like on the outside. You can fake it till you make it, but you're still going to have to go inside and do the work. You're still going to have to go internally and ask yourself the hard questions. How do I really show up? What do I really think about myself? How do I really feel when I'm in this situation? We have to be kind enough to ourselves to have a space that is authentic with ourselves. And that is true kindness and true love and true compassion for oneself, to be able to say the things that you can't say to anybody else to yourself. Our self-compassion journeys have to be just as big as our so-called healing journeys. Our forgiveness journeys have to be just as big. We have to put as much work into those places as we put into self-care. Appearing to look a certain kind of a way. I could look like $1 million, but if I don't feel it on the inside, is it even useful? We all see the perpetual examples of celebrities who seemingly have everything and then unfortunately commit suicide. Because that internal work is absolutely necessary. And sometimes if you build up externally too high without doing that internal work, there's a huge imbalance. And it creates an emotional sickness. It creates hi kindness, love. I love you. It creates an emotional unwellness that we cannot surpass. Having beautiful things is wonderful. And wealth is multiple ways. Wealth looks various ways. Peace of mind is wealth. Peace of mind is wealth. When we start to change our reference for what is good and what is beautiful, we can grow lots of different things. Okay. So the 3-year-old is commanding my attention, and honestly, she's priority. I love you guys. I'm going to save this entire talk for anybody who missed it. I'm going to try to keep doing these talks about the depths of healing and the murkiness of healing so that we can all stretch and get to the places that we want to be. I love you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful Saturday. I'll talk to you later. Peace.